Alright, welcome back, Giddm Gamers and Cryptid Campers and Yu-Gi-Oh! Yuglers for a deck tech. That's right, you've heard me talk about it about a million times over. I am a Yu-Gi-Oh! Boomer enthusiast. We play old GOAT format Yu-Gi-Oh! This is a 2001 Yu-Gi-Oh! Format, and I am on that perpetual nostalgia drip. I wanted to share my personal deck, the deck that I like to play. It's not the Chaos Turbo, it's not a S-tier deck, but I think given the right scenarios, this is a solid A-tier deck. It's mostly built for hand disruption, and I would say that's probably fairly impactful when you're going against Chaos. As we go through the deck, I'll explain some of the reasoning. With this being GOAT format Yu-Gi-Oh!, we have to have one copy of the blacklusted one, the Black Luster Soldier Envoy of the Beginning. We have just enough lights and darks in this deck to make this fella do his thing. And then we have the main character for the deck, Gearfried, the Iron Knight. I am a Joey fan when it comes to Yu-Gi-Oh! I always like Joey cards, Time Wizard probably being my most favorite card. And this deck, the main character is Gearfried. Got these chibi Gearfrieds from a buddy of mine, Kurt Cresswellington, and I just think they're kind of fun. I always do, when it comes to especially vintage or GOAT format Yu-Gi-Oh!, like or prefer the old card layouts, but these chibis are kind of just too cool to not keep in the deck. So here he is. Gearfried has this interesting mechanic, that's what this whole deck revolves around, is when either player equips a card to Gearfried, that card is then destroyed. There's few cards in this deck that will proc off this specifically, and we'll go over those once we get to those. The core of this deck is really a warrior deck. A common theme in warrior decks for GOAT format is Blade Knight. Blade Knight's pretty cool. I have 2 copies of them. Let's see here. These are from, I think, the tins. This one is, I guess, an error. It doesn't have the... It is a foil, you might not be able to tell, but it doesn't have the parallel hollow. Anyways, the Blade Knight is interesting in that if it's the only monster that you have on your side of the field, it negates any flip effects, and then if there is 1 or less cards in your hand, it gets pumped up to 2000 attack. 2000 attack beater in this format is fairly substantial, and it is also a light, and it is searchable by Rhoda. It is, in fact, a warrior. Then we have Breaker, the magical warrior, who is, in fact, not a warrior. You'll see a lot of my cards that are like these Gold Series ones. I love the Gold Series. Anytime I can get a card in Gold Series, I will make that purchase happen. And this is our Breaker. For those that don't know, Breaker is a 1600 attack beater. It is a dark, so it plays into the Black Luster Soldier. And you are able to attach a counter to Breaker, giving it 1900 attack. Should you remove that counter, you can destroy a spell or trap on the field. Then we have our DD Warrior Lady. Once again, is a light. Typically, you don't get to use DD Warrior Lady as banished material, considering that most of the time you use DD Warrior Lady to wall up or remove something that recurs in the graveyard. Could be a Sinister Serpent, or just removing some big thing. It could be a opponent's Chaos Sorcerer or a Black Luster Soldier. DD Warrior Lady's effect is when it battles an opponent's monster. After the damage calculation, you can remove the opponent's monster and this card from play. Also searchable by Rhoda. And also searchable by Rhoda is Exiled Force. This is a Hobby League card. I love the Hobby League cards. Some folks... Let's see here. I don't know if you can really tell with the lighting, but it has this like Bayaya, Metazoo, Jank print feel to it. Love that. And this card's a simple tribute, destroy 1 monster on the field. It removes... I use it mostly to remove face down cards. I don't like flip effect monsters. This deck is built to not like flip effect monsters specifically because that's a lot of the Chaos engine. That is the S tier deck that you're playing against, which is Chaos Turbo. So you want to search for Exile Force or play Exile Force and delete that card. Next up we have Tribe Infecting Virus, another one of staple within GOAT format. I think I should mention that the Exile Force, DD Warrior Lady, and Breaker are also one-ofs as well. Tribe's great because you can pitch a card to destroy really any, I guess, monster type on the field. And yeah, pretty straightforward there. I think Tribe's kind of a staple in almost all decks. You want to use it to get rid of scapegoats or really anything big. What's interesting about GOAT format is you do have player priority, so when you summon Tribe, you can have the priority to pitch the card and remove your opponent's monster, or whatever you're targeting in this case, which I think is important to note, because in formats like Edison, I believe, they could bottomless trap hole your Tribe, and you would not get the opportunity to get that effect off. Here's a Don Zaluk with horrible centering and some sort of, I guess, print error. I don't know, like that's actually on the card, that little dot. But I kind of like it. I like the jank. The heart of this deck really does want to disrupt your opponent's hand. So having Don is an obvious option here. I just think Don is one of the coolest, most classic Yu-Gi-Oh monsters to have. The dude's got swords. There is a lost art where he has guns, but I like the swords. It's pretty cool. And when you play him, you can, when you inflict damage to your opponent, you can discard a card from their hand or 2 cards off the top. You don't always want to do 2 cards off the top in GOAT, because sometimes that's enabling your opponent's Chaos engine, or you put a Sinister Serpent in there and you really just did your opponent a favor. But that option still is always nice to have. And Don's got a booty. 1500 attack or defense is not nothing. If your opponent attacks into it with a Dekoichi or something that has 14, they have to 14 or less, then they have to get rid of something from their hand or 2 off the top. Spirit Reaper is not something you typically see in warrior decks. Don is. I like Spirit Reaper. Plays into the hand disruption concept. But I also think it's a decent stall card. There's a lot of warrior decks, I would suppose, within the meta collectively, and every now and then when you're on the back foot, playing Spirit Reaper is fantastic. It cannot be destroyed by battle, so it's a pretty easy set, and also it can, I don't know, it can rip a card and it can keep your life points in good shape, so I think that's a really great piece to have. It is a dark as well. Not much else to say about Spirit Reaper. Good card. There's a Kaiku the Ghost Destroyer. I play 1. I do go in between wanting to have 2 in this deck. I'm not quite sure. Kaiku is a GOAT staple. Another Hobby League rare here. Gotta love that. When it does battle damage, your opponent, or you have the option to banish 2 of your opponent's monsters in their graveyard. And then on top of that, it's effectively a floodgate against Turbo. Your opponent cannot banish cards to do anything. So I think that's pretty good. Pretty good to have. Ninja Grandmaster Sasuke, Ultimate Rare. I like this guy too. Mostly built for Spy. Gravekeeper Spy is just a menace in this format. Actually, these 2 are Spy haters, Zambira and Grandmaster Sasuke. Yeah, so if it attacks a face-up defense position monster, you just destroy that monster with this card's effect. So it's also a light, it's searchable by Rhoda, and it deletes Spy. Another funny thing that a lot of people tend to do in GOAT format is they will special summon their Chaos Sorcerer or Blackluster Soldier in defense position, just for whatever reason they don't want to get hit by Mirror Force or what have you. That's great, because then you can play this fella and actually destroy a Chaos Sorcerer, Blackluster Soldier with Grandmaster Sasuke. Zambira the Dark is yet another Gravekeeper's hater, I guess. With 21 attack, it can destroy Gravekeeper's Spy with 2000 defense, so we love that. It's also good in the mirror. It's good at attacking other warriors, and it makes a decent functional wall. 2100 attacks, not nothing. The downside of this card being the fact that it cannot attack a player directly, and each time it attacks, it loses, let's see, 200 attack? Yeah, 200 attack. And that's it for the monster lineup. It is actually fairly lean. I think some people go 20 monsters. I think this one sits at 14, I believe. You want to keep it somewhat lean because of those Blade Knights. You don't want a bunch of bricks in your hand, so to speak. And then we have the Trinity. Okay, these are the strongest cards in GOAT format. We have, well, perceived strongest cards in GOAT format. Let me phrase it like that. We have a first edition Ultimate Rare Pot of Greed. Love that card. Love the Ultimate Rare foiling. We have a signed Graceful Charity by JDZ. Shout out JDZ. He is my favorite GOAT format content creator. Hasn't been doing a lot of GOAT content for a while, but the boy Kurt Cresswell, ran into him at a cookie run event and got me this delicious card. And then we have our Delinquent Duo. And I mean, I guess, do I really need to say what Pot of Greed does? I think we know, right? And then Graceful Charity, right? Draw 3, get rid of 2, that's great. And then Delinquent Duo is just straight up rude, but it plays into the hand disruption of this deck, and it's also just a staple. Pay 1,000 life points, rip a card at random from your opponent's hand, and then your opponent has to discard another card. Pretty good. Just picked up this Snatch Steal recently. That was kind of exciting or nice. Forget how it was. It was like, or how much it was. It was like $20 or something. It's pretty cheap, but it's first edition Magic card. Love it when they say Magic. Don't know what I want to do about that Delinquent Duo spell. Horrible. Anyways, take control of one of your opponent's face-up monsters. They gain 1,000 life points for each of their standby phases. Pretty straightforward. Don't have any tributes in this deck to really tribute over something that I've stolen from my opponent, but it does open up the board. I could steal their Blackluster Soldier or Chaos Sorcerer or whatever and banish itself. There's tons of applications there. MST, destroy one spell or trap card on the field. This is a quick effect. You can set it face down and pop one of your opponent's set cards. Pretty straightforward as well. Does have synergy with the main spell and traps of this deck, which are Blast with Chain and Smoke Bomb. Don't really know if you want to hit your own card, like go neg on that, but you could. Heavy Storm, another GOAT format staple. It's Dark Hole for spell and traps. Destroy all spell and traps on the field. Just love these simple old school effects. Like, it's a sentence. And that's kind of what I like about GOAT format as well. We go to the bar. I play at the bar. I like playing at the bar. There's not a lot of upkeep. I don't need like damage counters or a bunch of dice. It's just the cards, and they're simple. You can drink and talk trash while you play the game. Noblemen and Crossout. Remember, we hate face downs. We do not like face down cards. That's what these guys are here for. It's limited to 2. You hit your opponent's set card, and they have to banish all flip effect monsters of the same name within their deck. Just all around a good card. These are hobby leagues as well. It's cheap. They look nice. They have a cool holo. Can't really see with my lighting, I guess, which is unfortunate. Well, kind of, yeah. It really does pop if you get the right light on it. Then we have 2 Gold Series Rotas. I don't know. You can tell, like, even the sleeves here are just well damaged. A lot of beer and fries being played with this. Who cares? They're nice cards. I will play them. They look good. Search your deck for 1 level 4 or lower warrior monster and put it in your hand. I have tons of warrior monsters. This card is great. It's Upstart Goblin with better value. Then here are my favorite cards of the deck, or at least like the main event, the reason why you play Gearfried, at least the reason why I do. Smoke Grenade of the Thief. When this card is destroyed by a card effect while equipped, to a monster, look at your opponent's hand, and discard one card from their hand. So not only are we ripping a card from their hand, I get hand knowledge. I know what's in their hand. I know their follow-ups. And turn one is just it's a monster play. If you can Rota into Gearfried and then play a smoke grenade, it's just kind of disgusting. So Gearfried, once again, if either player equips cards to this card, destroy the equip card. Okay, so we're going to throw smoke grenade on Gearfried, kablow, I get to look at your hand and pick anything out of there I want. Yu-Gi-Oh! Is a very combo based, so any kind of disruption within the hand, especially in the opening turn, really does cause problems for the rest of that person's game. Smashing Ground, I am running 2 of these. I think I would or could cut one for maybe another Kaiku. That's always in flex, but this is experimental for sure. But the 2 Smashing Grounds are great. You definitely want at least one. Destroy the, I guess you can destroy spies with it, or Chaos Sorcerers, or really just clear the way for your Dawn or Spirit Reapers to get in there and rip cards out of their opponent's hand. That's what it's here for. Effect is destroy the face-up monster your opponent controls with the highest defense. If it's a tie, you get to choose. So Chaos Sorcerer has 2k defense. That's pretty high. It's usually getting smashed. Bait Doll. This is another card I'm experimenting with. I think I like it. It's good against Turbo. Forces the activation of a trap card. And if it's not a trap card, I just get more knowledge as to what's on the field. If the timing of the activation of the trap is incorrect, then I can destroy it. Destroy the Mirror Force, destroy the Torrential Tributes, rings. You can force your opponent to play their ring on their own monster if you have nothing on the field, or Raigeki Break. It's kind of an annoying card, and it also gets shuffled back into your deck if it's not a trap card. So I guess that could be a perceived downside there, or maybe that's a positive. You get to reuse the card. And then here are the hero trap cards of the deck. Blast with Chain. A lot of text. After activation, this card is treated as an equipped magic card. You don't really see that come into play very often, but I do think it's worth noting. The equipped magic card component. So if you equip this to one of your monsters and then your opponent plays Jinzo or something, typically Jinzo turns off trap cards, but then this is a magic card, so then you still are getting the plus 500 from the Blast with Chain equipped to that monster, so there's inherent value there. It's a great battle trap as well, so they tuck into your Dawn that has 1400 attack. Boom, play Blast with Chain, it's got 1900. You destroy their Kaiku that has 1800 attack, and then you get to rip a card from their hand. Pretty good. Or, once again, the main event is you equip it to Gearfried. After you equip it to Gearfried, you do the last sentence of this card's effect. When this card is destroyed by an effect of another card, select one card on the field and destroy it. That's great for popping face downs. Again, we hate face downs. It can remove your opponent's back row or just another big guy. Really great card. Okay, then we have Dust Tornado. I like having one. I don't know if I want two. It's like, it's up there. It's either Dust Tornado or Bait Doll. I can maybe remove the Bait Doll and do 2 Dust. What's nice about Dust Tornado is I can destroy one magic or trap card on my opponent's side of the field, and then I can set one magic or trap card from my hand. So this is really nice when you want to set up a play with Gearfried. So you open up, you set Dust Tornado face down, you pass to your opponent's turn, your opponent does their thing, and then at the end of their turn, you flip Dust Tornado over, you pop one of their back rows, and then you can set Blast with Chain thereafter, and then the following play you play your Gearfried, and then you flip over your Blast with Chain, and then you are off to the races. So you removed their back row, you hit the Blast with Chain, you probably delete their, I don't know, probably they set a face down, that face down's gone, and then Gearfried's off to the races. Solemn Judgment. I like playing 2. Sometimes, again, this is another one I'm not always certain on. Do we do 3? Do we do 2? 3 can feel bad. So if you, Solemn Judgment, for those that don't know, you pay half your life points to negate the activation of a spell, trap, summon, of any monster. Really good card, but half your life points. Do you want to open Solemn Judgments? Not really. Like, you want to be playing Solemn Judgments mid to late game after you have taxed your own life points through some means, especially when you're playing Ring of Destruction. I have this first edition Ultimate Rare ring. Gotta love that. But Ring is a burn card, so you will be popping your opponent's monster ideally and taking the attack damage of that to yourself and to your opponent. And that could also feel bad if you have Solemn Judgment twice or even once and then hitting your opponent's Chaos Source for 23, at which point you have 1,700 life points left. Not great. Call of the Haunted. It's another GOAT staple. That's a one of. So is Ring. Call of the Haunted, pretty simple. You select one monster from your graveyard and summon it to the field in attack position. What's interesting about Call of the Haunted is that it does not target, or it doesn't equip rather, so I can use Call of the Haunted on Gearfried. Whereas with Premature Burial, it's an equip card, I could not use it on Gearfried, so I just get more value out of Call of the Haunted in this deck as opposed to Premature Burial, and it's just a good card. And then finally we have the two, I guess if there is a Trap Trinity, it'd probably be Ring, Torrential, and Mirror Force in this case. But I do have Torrential in the main deck. That's another one that I'm not quite certain on if I would keep, but it is helpful. It does clear out goats, it does clear out Ojamas, anything that your opponent does to lock up the field. It is just removal, so to speak. And you want to be clearing the field for your Dons, for your Spirit Reapers, for your guys to get in there and do the most damage. And Mirror Force, I don't think there's a whole lot else to be said about Mirror Force. Your opponent attacks and they run into Mirror Force, you remove all of their face-up attack position monsters. So that's it for the main deck. It's 40 cards. Again, we'll do a quick review here. We have Gearfried. Gearfried's favorite cards are Smoke Grenade. Let's find that Smoke Grenade real quick. There it is. Like Smoke Grenade, and he likes Blast with Chain. There it is. So Gearfried, you can Smoke Grenade, get rid of a card in your opponent's hand, you get to pick, and then Blast with Chain deals with all the things on the field. It's a bit of a combo deck. These cards can feel like bricks. They are better when you go first. So if you're going second, then you tend to side out at least a Smoke Grenade or a Blast with Chain. Typically, if I'm going second, I will side out a Smoke Grenade. I still keep two of them in. I don't side all of them out. Or depending the matchup, I side out some of the Blast with Chains. Typically, when you're playing a Warrior deck, your opponent sides in Royal Decree. So at that point, you start sort of metagaming the situation and determining whether or not you need to take the Blast with Chains or the Smoke Grenades out. As it stands, Gearfried is still a good beater, so good warrior to keep in your deck, so oftentimes I still keep the Gearfrieds in. So with that, we can talk about the side deck real quick. This is 14 cards. It's missing a Tsukiyomi. It's mostly for the Monarch matchups, but in the side deck we have Mystic Walk. It's a great card. Mystic Walk, for those that don't know, you can tribute a monster, select either its attack or defense, and gain that many life points. It's great against burn. Pretty simple there. Swords of Revealing Light. It's great against the aggro, earth, warrior mirrors, so to speak. If your opponent's got bigger guys than you, goblin attack forces and things of that nature, you want to slow them down and you want to put Swords of Revealing Light into the mix. There's times where this card just saves games. Next we have Mind Control. We don't like flips. If we have an opponent that just loves flips, then we want to side into Mind Control and hopefully use their flips as our flips. Morphing Jar, number 2. I love this card. I think it's tech. I don't know. If your opponent's playing Reasoning Gate or anything that has tributes, it's super disruptive. Has a wall of text. If it gets run into, you basically shuffle all the cards into the field into the deck, and your opponent has to mill cards until they have the same amount of monsters that were on the field previously back on the field, and you as well. I have plenty of monsters in my deck, so that doesn't hurt me very much, but decks like Reasoning Gate, or again even a Monarch build, that really hurts them. They have to be 4 or lower monsters, so if it's, say they attacked into it with a Jinzo, and then they have to mill until they have another 4 or lower monster in the deck, they would be milling over Chaos Sorcerers, they could be milling over Mobius, anything that's above 4 stars. King Tiger Wang Hu, love this guy too. Floodgate, we do 2 of those as well. King Tiger's great for any deck that loves Scapegoats or Relinquished, or any control type deck. Burn that has Ojamas, Recruiters. King Tiger, basically, as long as it's face up on the field, your opponent can't summon 1,400 or less monsters. They can summon them, but they'll go straight to the graveyard, so pretty straightforward on that. Some folks would have this guy in the main. I've debated keeping this guy in the main. I'm not quite sure. It is a warrior, Mystic Swordsman level 2. He basically deletes any face-down monsters. Remember, we hate flip effect monsters. And they don't resolve their effect when he attacks them. Pretty straightforward. He's just a little guy. He does get killed by literally everything, so I like siding him in if my opponent's playing a lot of flips, or maybe some sort of floodgate like Gravity Bind or level 11 Area B. Next up, we have 2 Kinetic Soldiers. Kinetic Soldiers are great in the Warrior Mirror as well. For those that don't know, Kinetic Soldier, he gets a 2,000 attack and defense point boost when engaging with a warrior, so to speak. So he can hit over Blackluster Soldier or literally just about every warrior in the game. So I think it's worth keeping in. And again, it hits under level limit Area B, and it hits under Gravity Bind. It's just another card that you want to bring in if your opponent's on Floodgates. Next up, we have Sakuretsu Armor. I think it's good to keep one of these in here. I do tend to side out some of my traps, but if I am in that warrior matchup, and I think 2 of the most dominant or more dominant decks that you'll see within the GOAT format meta is Turbo, which our main deck is fairly strong against, but then the other is Warriors or Earth Aggro, and Sakuretsu is great against both of those. And then finally, we have 2 Royal Decrees. It's for when my opponent decides that they want to run Burn. Burn can be brutal if you don't have the walks or the decrees against it. Really, you just kind of auto lose. And Royal Decree, while it's face up on the field, it negates the effect of all trap cards on the field except itself. And that is the Gearfried deck. Love to see what some of y'all's thoughts are. I appreciate you guys tuning in, and thank you, Giddm Gamers, for putting up with our business. See ya.